Today we're asking, what does it mean to be bold? The dictionary definition of being bold is someone who shows a willingness to take risks. Someone who's confident and courageous. Often being bold involves action. And if we're bold and we're brave, we show courage in our words and in our actions. The story we're looking at today is the story of Lent, when Christians reflect on Jesus' actions during his 40-day journey in the wilderness. This was his preparation for carrying out God's work on earth. In the story, Jesus is bold in rejecting the devil's temptations, showing courage to stand up for God's message of love, and being committed to show others a way that brings light into a dark world. We're told that he had gone 40 days and 40 nights without food. Imagine that. And at this point he was tempted by the devil 3 times to not follow God's way. Let's pause for a minute. Have you ever been really tempted to do something, even though you know it's not the right thing to do, or that it could hurt other people? Perhaps your parents or teacher told you you mustn't do something. Did you give in? If you did, how did you feel afterwards? Were there consequences to your actions? If you chose not to give in, why did you make that choice? Your teacher might want to pause the video at this point and hear some of your ideas. The first temptation for Jesus was whether to use his miraculous power to turn the stones in front of him into bread. He must have been very hungry, but he chooses to be bold and to not give in, instead turning to God for his strength. His actions show he is committed to serving and helping others to follow God's way. The second temptation was to throw himself from the highest point of the temple and have angels rescue him to prove that he was God. But Jesus stood up against the challenge to use his power in a bad way. The third temptation was to bow down and worship the devil so that he could have all the kingdoms in the world. But Jesus chose to be bold and to stand firm, putting God's kingdom and work first. Jesus left the wilderness feeling strong and ready to help people experience God's way of living life to the full. Jesus' way of being bold involves being willing to take risks, to stand up and speak against things that are not right in our world, to not be tempted to do things that were wrong and hurt others. It is an encouragement to care about the things that God cares about and show God's love through actions, setting an example to others.